Yes, that was the story, and I do remember that. The thing I think it's important for people to know, stop believing in things you know are not true.
That's right.
Stop believing that someone's watching out for you, someone's coming for you, that you're going to be floated up in on a cloud of drone foam.
Or whatever else out there.
You know,
Beam me up, drone foam.
That's not what's going to happen.
This is Daytona Beach Shores, Florida at 1:45 p.m. today, and you can see the fog rolling in from two directions, but not in the middle part here where I'm about to show you. And then the next video that's about to come up right after this one is the balcony view, and you can't even see the ocean at all. And you can see this big ring here, very strange, and it all just happened in a matter of about 15 minutes. Keep in mind there's no rain forecasted. It's not very cold outside. This is just very unusual to see and a very random time for fog to just appear. This is Daytona Beach Shores, Florida.
Smart dust is a term used to describe tiny micro-electromechanical devices so small they look like dust. This smart dust or nanotechnology was developed in the 1990s by DARPA and the Research and Development Corporation. It's to be used in areas like security, space travel, and medicine. Yes, nanotechnology is made to go inside your body, and there's a good chance it's already there. Google's Director of Engineering, Kurzweil, stated, and I quote, "Nanobots will infuse all the matter around us with information. Rocks, trees, everything will become these intelligent creatures. Well, the only way you can do that is if you drop them from the sky." The reason these COVID tests are taking up the nose is so they can insert this nanotechnology close to your brain. But don't worry, right now the technology is inactive. In order for it to work, it needs a strong enough signal. Ever heard of 5G?
Welcome to Call for the Truth. I am LaOta of the Sun, and this is Tarvars of the Sun, and we will be here talking to you about drone dust or drone fog or foam fog.
Our title, TBA.
Well, before we begin, Tarvars, will you bring us into the Call for the Truth?
Most certainly. And we encourage you to join us in this calling for the frequency of truth. Should we call forth the frequency of truth to come forward into our experience? Should we call to see the truth in all that we see? Should we call to hear the truth in all that we hear? And should we call to speak the truth, calling forth the courage to speak the truth? Should we call forth nothing less than the truth to come forward into our experience? And we're the lady of many titles here. So all over the U.S., there are people documenting fog. Actually, this is not just the U.S. This is happening internationally,
Yes.
which it really raises the suspicion. So there's a lot of documentation of fog that's abnormal arising. And I think for me, there were 2 to 3 videos that really did it, where I saw one in the UK, and it's usually gray skies over there. But when you got people in the UK saying, look, this is not normal, and then they show the level of dust or dirt that has collected, the accumulation as a byproduct, and then there's also the smell of chemical. There's a couple of different things that are going on. And then I saw a video of someone's pool. After the fog, there was these accumulations of what looked like some type of foamy or this white substance that piled up and clustered. And then another one, and for me, this was one of the most suspicious ones, in Daytona, Florida, where it was broad daylight, it was warm, and the fog was patchy. So you can see fog right here, you can see fog right there, just to give you clearer understanding. A woman's on her balcony saying, "You don't find that suspicious?" She didn't say it like that, but essentially, this is abnormal for Florida during the heat, because we know as Floridians, when the sun comes up, the fog disperses. And so you see fog to your right, and then there's a massive gap, and then there's fog to the left. Right. And so what's happening here? What are we seeing?
One of the things that we should know is that we're using the word fog as a descriptive term to allude to something we're familiar with. We don't want to besmirch fog by,
because this
because
ain't
this
that.
is not fog.
Yeah.
This is something being released for us to inhale through our lungs and to get into the body so that it can then have advantage over the biology of the body to make us more compliant.
Yes.
This is not a new idea, and we're very familiar with nanoparticles. We're familiar with graphene. We're familiar with many of the new scientific discoveries, and this does not act or behave in any way the way that fog or mist, natural fog and mist, behave. So it is, we don't need a tribunal to explain to us this is not regular fog. It is evident, clear and evident that that's not what it is. So this has been, this is drone residue. So there are videos already of during daylight hours of the drones releasing something into the air. This has happened in many places in Europe. The drones were above the American embassy in Germany before the government collapsed. There are these sightings all over South America, all over the world. There are these sightings, but here there's a history of having drones, so to say, I don't want to say bully, but be intimidating over military bases for years now, 3 years. There have been drones over Langley, drones over other military bases. These things were reported. They come back every year right around Christmas time. And so now they have geared up to a point where it has become a phenomenon. And as the logic and reason brings us to the fact that now they appear, and now we have something that appears to be a chemical byproduct that has a smell. It can be measured through smell. It can be measured through people feeling the aggression from the atmosphere of being in the experience of it. So people are saying, it feels like it's making me sick. It makes my throat hurt. It feels like it's hitting my car. We've heard a lot of reports of people feeling like this is something aggressive because it is. And so what is happening is this is another layer in the continuing process to attack humanity and to bring in situations that make us more amenable and more compliant with whatever the next experiences are. So that's what that is.
So a couple of different thoughts. This idea of normalization of drones, and I was thinking about how America's military have used drones in a myriad of different operations. I think we took some dictator down with a drone. I don't remember which one. Look it up. And how we're somehow oblivious to the fact that our government will not use those same tactics on us, what they've done to other foreign nations. And we're starting to see that, like, it's around, and again, a normalization, but the literal videos of some type of substance or particles streaming from these aerial vehicles. And to go back to what you were saying earlier, how it's an attempt to get something inside of us. You know, we know 2020, that was part of the goal. And what do you call the people at the mortuaries? The morticians, is it? Yes, the morticians, and what they were finding all over the U.S. and how there was this clotting, abnormal clotting. It looked fibrous. It was very obscure, and it was because of the introduction of something. And so there's some things that we saw around that time that is coming back to mind, where there are little patents by certain individuals, philanthropists, fill in the blank, who they want to turn humans into somewhat of some type of server, like to lay a foundation to make it make sense, where we can be interfaced with, the biology can be interfaced with through frequency, like a cell phone or a laptop, where signals can be sent to influence the biology, or more so our thoughts, our neurological system. Would you speak on that? Because it sounds sci-fi, but how sci-fi is it when you have hard-held patents and then also World Economic Forum pushing towards forms of transhumanism, or our boy Elon who want to put chips in our brain? I'm just saying.
So the idea of this is a long plan. So there are, decades ago, there were communities where cell towers were put in, and large power stations were put in those communities, and most people bought houses outside of those communities because they understood, even many decades ago, that weakened the human electrical system and made people weak and unable to be their stronger, more resilient self. And in those areas, what we would call ghettos or slums, people were more prone to eating wrong and more prone to addictions and more prone to lower level social behavior. So now, with the introduction over the last many years, this has been going on for over 10 years, the introduction of the lights that we see that look like black lights that are near all the airports. They've been instituted all over this country, but they were also instituted in Great Britain and all over Europe as well. And with reports of people who lived in downtown areas, who lived where that light was coming in, a lot of miscarriages and issues with their biology. So these lights are now installed that interface with medications and things that have been given to us in the recent years. And then, so this is a layered situation. Yeah. So we have the first situation from decades ago, and then we have in the last decade these lights that have come in, and now we have 5G that has come in the last number of years. And now what connects that is now here. So all of these things are connected in a way. It's a global attempt to take down the divinity and the power of the human. And apparently we're tough to kill.
Yeah.
But more importantly, we're tough to turn into a battery. So that's what's, all of this is to acquire the energy that humans have as life forms, those who survive it, those who are strong enough to still live, to acquire this energy and then to direct it into some kind of monetized or business model where it can be used to further the ones whose plan this is.
Well, so interesting enough, that's what I saw with the patents, and we don't have to pull them patents up, because making or turning the human into a server and utilizing their energy, it's almost like a treadmill type of idea where the energy produces some form of currency in some shape or form. And of course, it can all be measured through biometrics, through the we're again becoming even more hybridized with technology, where it would be within you. It would measure your cells and your all the different functions and activities, and that would kind of gauge out into some sum total of something that could be measured. And so I see that. So you shared these different concepts and forms of technology where literally the biology can be influenced through light.
Absolutely.
I mean, it already happens from the sun. Like light literally helps us, but can also be to our detriment. And it's funny you mentioned about these purple lights or those black light looking things, because it feels very dystopian. And I remember traveling to Fort Lauderdale recently, and there were so many, but they're usually concentrated where there's large bodies of people, and airports. Like in the ghettos or slums. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so the airports, this tri-rail area, and the expressways, it was quite a thing. And to see that, they were saying that it was a malfunction originally, but have you ever seen a light malfunction and turn purple?
And every light all over the globe, hundreds and thousands, tens of thousands of black lights, all are malfunctioning. Yeah, that was the story, and I do remember that. The thing I think it's important for people to know, stop believing in things you know are not true.
That's right.
Stop believing that someone's watching out for you, someone's coming for you, that you're going to be floated up in on a cloud of drone foam.
or whatever else out there.
You know,
Beam me up, drone phone.
that's not what's going to happen. We will have to discipline ourselves and integrate our intelligence so that we can take action, which is actually the divine masculine, to take action to create an environment where we may create a new world that is not commerce. You were absolutely right when you say that you said something to the effect of energy. Energy is currency, and we are energetic beings that can be quantified as currency in the same way that the planet has now been mapped for every tree,
Yes.
every living thing, and to add a value to it. So we are carbon-based beings that are, if the ones who survive this will be able to be counted as currency. And the way the plan goes is that people will then be able to claim that lake and that forest, but they're not saying which people will be able to claim that. And that will then be their wealth, will be from those kinds, whatever is left standing, whatever isn't killed, whatever is left standing, that will be how they quantify their wealth. That will be the currency. And so this is at least an aspect of the plan. And I'm in talking to my guidance and working with my intuitive information, I'd say this is the gist of it. And that the important thing for us to do is to first stop believing in things that we know are not true. Like, just assess what you have seen with through your own perception.
I have several different things. One, this stop believing in things you know are not true. People have received a rude awakening. I've been seeing a lot of clips and thumbnails or headlines that say the MAGAs are upset or they've been betrayed by Trump. You have so many people who have, this guy's going to be the one amongst an entire line. What is he? What do they call him? 35 or whatever? What number president?
I'm not sure
right?
what number he is.
I don't even know why I'm asking you that, because I'm sure you're like, I don't know. I don't play that game, Tarvars. But, in the long line of presidents who maybe JFK was all right, but because, they killed him because he was about to turn up against him. But the point I'm making is that we have been in such a toxic, narcissistic relationship with governing bodies who continue to show us we don't have your best interest in mind. And so I see where there's a awakening happening, a rude one, but awakening nonetheless. I feel like you have some thoughts on this.
I do. We don't live long enough to see the big plan.
True, yeah.
The plan has been going on for thousands of years, and each generation thinks that they get it. But all of the ruling class are of a ruling herders, that their bloodline puts them in position, and the magic of the ruling class excludes those who need to be excluded so that the others can remain in the ruling class. And that's why every president was related to every other president. So we want to believe that, Trump is the hero, but what I have noticed is that whenever somebody's the one, the next thing you know, they're the one who is sacrificed. What I have noticed is that when somebody's the hero, the way the story ends is they are then made the martyr. I have noticed also that the ones who run this process are not particularly creative, that we see the same false flags over and over again. Pearl Harbor, Oklahoma City, the Twin Towers, COVID, we see the same false flags over and over again. We are the ones who are not paying attention, but the story remains, it's the same story. Yeah. It's like Batman 12. It's the same story over and over and over again. It wouldn't take much if we would allow ourselves to be flexible in our thinking and stop holding on to the thoughts that it's someone else's responsibility to come and save us from the experience that we have allowed and permitted to have in our world. Yeah. So part of what keeps us handicap is that we want to believe that, our mothers, fathers, uncles, brothers, husbands are going to come and protect us and save us from Trump will be the one who will come and protect us. It is unlikely because there has never been anything in our history, anything that we can go back to from thousands of years that show that there was any such thing.
Yeah.
This is a myth.
In recent times, I have been prompted by my guidance more and more that you got to save yourself. You're the savior. You got to save yourself. You're the one that's been waiting on you. It's nobody else. Even though there's a tangential reality of working with like-minded people, at the end of the day, you can't give to another what you're not willing to do for yourself. Because there's a lot of people who think they got it and like, oh, saving people and helping them, but like, where are you within the equation? What are you doing for yourself? So I kind of want to shift the gears a bit because you were speaking about the discipline that's needed to offset what we're experiencing. And there's people who are like, I can't breathe no more. I can't do this and that. You can, but this idea of detoxification, ways we can get rid of heavy metals, because I don't think we fully elaborated on it, but what we do know is that there's different particles, nanoparticles, graphene, one of them specifically. The tech is here. It's been here since like the 1930s. That again can be interfaced with through both light, sound, and different forms of frequency in ways that the general public aren't aware of. But the part of the issue is that, and this is something that I've seen through my personal research, is that it requires a lot of buildup within us to do it. And that's part of, let's say, anti-life's issue, is that they really got to get it in us. That's why this fog everywhere, there's chemtrails, there's so many attempts through the food, etc., to make it happen. Would you speak on the idea, because you specialize in food, you have a rich history in it regarding healing the body and specifically on removing metals?
There's so much to be said on the idea of food, but the principle behind it is that we must honor the equipment that we came here with. We are not our bodies, but we were given magnificent equipment that we have not learned how to use because no one taught us. We can interface in such a way with our bodies that we protect ourselves from by weaponizing ourselves against anything that wants to kill us. We protect ourselves by, shall they not take what I will not give them? Shall they not have what is not that I'm not giving? We have not been taught to be congruent and integrated in integrity in that way, but that is a protection. The state of mind that you are in has everything to do what your body will accept.
That's something, because like that shows like you already are equipped. It's just
you
a
are
matter
already
of like
equipped.
picking your weapon up.
It's like we breathe with our lungs, but our skin is breathing all the time. I've been teaching for years to start skin breathing.
Yeah.
All right, so here we are. We are now at the time where you need to be skin breathing. You can ask your body, which is already skin breathing.
Yeah.
It is already a function that you are doing all the time. And that is something that can be expanded. This idea of seeing the divinity of who you are, understanding that who you are is enough, that you are enough for this situation or you wouldn't be here. Only the ones who are enough for this come for this. So, but it's a matter of, are you ready to activate your enoughness? So yes, the food is important, but I think the bigger idea is to get congruent with who are you? You are the one who wanted to be here at this time because this is the biggest adventure in the galaxy.
I feel like this is a major key, because even if a person was to pursue eating healthy food, one of the things that I've seen is that their thoughts can still negatively offset what the food could potentially do in a positive way.
Villains like to eat healthy food too.
Yes, they do. They want the best. Not what you peasants are eating. Grass-fed.
It is not as if the villains don't want to remain beautiful and strong and healthy too.
Yeah,
so
that's true. And they go extra lengths.
And they have enough respect for the biology to give it the appropriate food, to make their own bread, to uh, drink clean water, to do the things that they know are there at the level of intelligence to do. So it is about the food, but it is more about your thought and your connection and respect for your body and the biology and it's very important to understand that we have been given the solution, that we live inside of the solution. We are guests at the Airbnb body.
Yeah.
We don't stay here. Our bodies are not us, but our bodies are the equipment that has not been turned on, but can be turned on. We should not be afraid that we can't breathe, we can't eat, we can't do. We have to think our way through it. It is important that we have the cognitive function and the clarity of our own responsibility in this situation.
Would you speak a little bit about how Of the Sun's introducing ways to move into working with the body's innate intelligence, like specifically the calibration classes that you teach?
So I teach an introductory calibration class that teaches you how to assess the truth from falsehood in every situation very easily. And we just recently, we had one of the students taught her 7-year-old daughter. And she came on to a talk I was doing, and she said, my father called and told my daughter a lie, and my daughter checked with her body and said, Grandpa's not saying the truth. And so even a 7-year-old can do it. So we can see something that looks like fog and say, is that fog? And your body will say, no, that's not fog.
It's something other.
I may not be able to tell you all the chemical compounds, but it may, if, depending on if you have that brain capacity and you have that kind of learning, but it can tell you don't get near it, stay away from it. So these classes at this time are essential. This is not the same thing as when people have a pendulum. This is without any outside, you don't need anything but who you are.
Yeah.
And the understanding that you have the capacity to know what's in the mailbox or what's in a letter or what's happening down the street or what's falling from the sky. And do you need to protect yourself, or should you stay or should you go? You know, this whole idea of fight or flight. You want to know, should I stay away from the fight and flight? Like, you have the ability to know, don't go there.
Yeah, where we don't even have to experience that trajectory.
And that maybe today I stay in the house.
Yeah.
Or maybe today I go out and sit in the sun. And then we have other things we teach. We teach how to clear the air above the house and how to work with breathing from the skin. So we have solutions to what is happening, because it is always the case that the universe provides for the people in the desert. They got a camel, you know, and we've got our own ability to calibrate, our own ability to clear, our own ability to keep ourselves pure through our will to do so.
So I feel that there are many people on the planet who they feel some level of their gifts opening up.
Yes.
Intuitiveness, knowingness, like people make, oh, I knew this person was thinking about me and they called me, or I saw this thing going to play out and then it plays out. Would you speak to how this calibration and being in tune with the body could even expand their gifts and intuitiveness?
Absolutely. I want to say first, so you know, it is normally people are not motivated unless there's need. It is the contrast, or it is the direness of the circumstance that allows us to think.
Yeah, do something.
and to recognize that we actually are equipped in mass and individually to do so. And so all things serve us. All things serve the highest elevation of life. So even in this, and I know it may look dire and you may not be able to see the way out, but even this shall serve us if it allows us to know that we are more than logic and reason and what's written in books. We are greater than that. And there's no end to how great we can be. And it's only limited by our limitation on who we think we are.
I completely agree. I feel like everything serves us. And this is, nudging humans to move into not just responsibility, which is a key component
Right.
of what we're experiencing within our own direct experience, but also like step into your multidimensional self, step into who you really are and what you were designed as, because apparently we must be great because they're going through such great lengths. Like
Yeah.
we got to flood them with heavy metals and toxins, which would dumb down and mess up the endocrine system and other hormones that would allow us to interface in this way, which again, people are like, ooh, I think I hear someone thinking about, well, I'm hearing frequencies and things. And, is that bird communicating or is that tree talking to me? Right? It's happening.
It's absolutely happening, and it's part of our inheritance. It's part of our true, what we get at birth. It's part of the gifts of being born human on the planet, on this living earth, with everything else that's living. It's part of what happens, but we have been told it's been obfuscated. We've been told it's not, we've been ridiculed if we do it. That time is over.
Yeah.
That time is over.
The lie's collapsing.
and part of what is being hijacked is as these things happen, they want to have control of the power that will come in through the crown chakra that does illuminate through the third eye, the ability to know. They want power over that.
Yeah.
Because power, energy is the currency. We're electrical beings. We're also magnetic beings. That's power, and that can be turned into currency for whatever we will allow and permit to have happen to us. So many of the things that we see in the movies and out of the imagination of those who are writing books are us looking at it and not railing against it. It is awareness of acceptance, that if you see it and you say nothing, you have accepted it. If you see it and you say, no, I don't want to watch that anymore, take that off my feed, I don't want that playing, I don't want the paint in my house to experience that.
Yeah.
It's
that real.
It is
the frequency
that real.
And the impression.
The frequency, I don't want to sleep with that on my pillow.
Mm-hmm.
So when you reject it, you've rejected it. And so I encourage everyone to reject the state of affairs that we are in. And we are only at the beginning. These ideas will keep coming and keep coming and keep coming until humanity either accepts it or rejects it. So that's the reality.
Yeah.
Would you like to pull a card for
I
today's
sure would.
talk?
As you were speaking, I heard the words in my mind, woman, man, know thyself. So apparently somebody knows a whole lot about us and trying to keep it from us. Don't let them wake up.
We are calling for the power of the divine masculine, and we are calling for the power of the divine feminine. The power of the divine feminine is honor, respect, and gratitude. The power of the divine masculine, amongst many other things, is to bring back balance into our world through integrity, through discipline, and through action. We all have both of these qualities. We are both aspects of the polarity of creation of divine masculine and feminine. You are encouraged to take action, to be disciplined, to integrate all of yourselves in honor, respect, and gratitude. And the card reads,
it is the theme, fear. What you fear, you draw near. And this makes me think about what you were saying earlier, the power of our minds in deciding, and how, literally, I'm sure people have experienced this where, you focus on worst case scenario and then, oh my gosh, there it goes. I remember there was a client of ours, she kept thinking that she was going to hit a deer, and then a day later, a deer jumped out in front of her. She didn't hit it, but she drew it to her, and just this power of the mind, and how you were saying the discipline that's needed as a solution, so we can create the reality that we want and not allow someone or something to hijack us, no matter what it looks like out there.
Yeah.
But any other thoughts on that?
Yes, the final thought I have is that it's important for us to love self. That so much of what is coming to us we allow and permit because we don't love ourselves enough to develop the energy to say no to it. It takes energy to back something up off of you. It takes energy to get up and turn off the television. It takes energy to stop smoking pot. It takes energy to do whatever the thing is. Back away from the computer. It takes energy to live. Choose life. Choose your own life. That which is coming for us does not love us. But you can offset it by, if your love for yourself and the others around you, your parents and your children and your loved ones, if it is great enough, it will protect them.
I can so see the truth of the universal laws in what you're saying, and how, love helps offset things where that type of behavior of attack, that's not even a match.
Right.
Like, because love don't look like that.
Right.
So being plain and simple. But before we go, I'd like to share with them, for those who are local, we're going to be having a live audience opening up the Sun Dome to the locals. So if you are somewhere in the Atlanta area and you want to join us live and be in the Sun Dome with us, getting some sun, and maybe bring a blanket or a coat.
On chilly days like today.
You can join us in this live podcast, Calling for the Truth.
So the podcast is every Thursday, and we would invite you to join us at 12 noon, and we will post flyers on this podcast so that you can see, and you can ask questions and participate in this conversation if you would like. We thank you for joining us, and we extend to you honor, respect, and gratitude. In Lakesh and Veritas.